probably you guys, after the Dancing Outlaw came out in the early 90s, I was sort of sucked in. I'd like to think that I'm more educated and above being sucked in by something like that, but I was. I don't know why. I don't have an answer. And that was my goal about 7 or 8 years ago, was to sort of figure out what it was about Jesco. And I still don't have an answer. It's like some people will say, because he's crazy, and it's like, yeah, but it's a combination of a lot of things that captivates us, because people say, oh, he's crazy. It's like, well, your neighbor's crazy, and he is real. He's probably one of the most real people I know. He reminds me of, some sort of nomadic gypsy, it's like they're hustling and conning, they hoard together, and they're about as real as it gets, and I admire that in him. But there's still something captivating. He's very charismatic, he's very charming, as equally demonic, which is probably part of his charm, I don't know. So I wanted to meet him, and I don't know why. It's like I had my little bucket list, and it was like Evil Knievel, Johnny Cash, and Jesco, and 2 of them died, so it's Jesco. And so met him, befriended him when he lived in Paytona. So I'd been working with him for about 4 or 5 years probably, and I'll try to sum this up, but Julian Nitzberg, who basically discovered Jesco when he was filming a documentary on Hassel Atkins. There was a bar fight, and this lady broke it up, and it happened to be Mamie White. And basically she said, I'm having a birthday party for my brother tomorrow, and excuse my language, guys, but I'm quoting Mamie. She said, I've got a cake, and it's got tits and a pussy on it, so you gotta come. And Julian's big thing is, he's like, I love cake, so I had to go. And so he met Jesco and filmed some footage. So Julian has this footage, I've got this current relationship, and oddly enough, Johnny Knoxville was doing a voiceover for King of the Hill. Julian Nitzberg knew somebody, and they started talking Southern culture. And Johnny Knoxville actually really, he tries to preserve Southern culture. He actually owned Johnny Cash's cabin, to the dismay of all of Nashville. And so he's into outlaw radio, and he's just really into that stuff. And so we started tossing around the idea of maybe a revisit of Jesco, not a Dancing Outlaw Part 3, but something that's a legitimate documentary where we go in and observe ultimately why they are what they are. Maybe that was our sort of the genesis of the project and what we were thinking of happening. And lo and behold, we came up for a weekend and used some of my original footage and some of Julian's footage, and we filmed some stuff, and MTV just sort of went ape shit over it. We said, let's do it now. And 2 months later, we had full budget, and we filmed for 14 months. Started off like a week, a month, and it was just really brutal. So then it was like 6 days the next month, and 5 days, and to be in the circumstances that they are in, to you or I, it's very dramatic. And it takes a toll on you, And so we got to where we were filming less and less and calling Paige more and more. So we filmed for 14 months, in prison, out of prison, rehab, babies being taken away, the death of Bertie Mae, which was just brutal, and 600 hours of footage. You really think about each shot, there's a camera this close to Mamie saying, fuck that damn camera, like we're there. In the back, when the CPS takes the chopped baby away, there's a camera guy hidden in the back seat, down low, it's like, we were there. And so if they do accept us all, I'm honored to say that at Bertie Mae's funeral, they threw a shovel to me, which to me was a huge sign, and I literally was like, I can't do that. And they're like, come on. So yeah, to some weird degree, I think, we still, they're in my motel room right now, so smoking pot and trashing it and drinking all the whiskey probably. There's this old West Coast film adage, like the line in The Gazelle, you don't save the gazelle, you just let it get eaten.
And you watch.
I'm not that strongly devoted to that. I don't care. It's like, it wasn't for me to be objective. I'm there to observe and film and see what happens. But there were times that we had one girl that was West Coast, that was very West Coast. I don't mean that to sound derogatory, but you know what I mean. And she was,
people might not know what you mean, that's just
they know what I mean. You can tell by the laughter. And it just took one little circumstance that to you or I would have been trivial, but she didn't know, it was kids squabbling kind of thing, and she intervened, and she was hated. To the point to where we would sit down to eat at a pizza place, and Mamie would sit right here, and I was like, why don't you come join us? I ain't sitting with that bitch. Okay, what I had to do, and I hope I'm not offending anybody here. I had to build up what I call a stripper mentality, is that I had to build this facade that when you're with something and filming it, you can be a part of it, but to not let it affect you. And it really fucked with me, because I would have to sort of detox when I got home, like for a day or two, because I had, it sounds odd, but turn my emotions off. Because when you see, it's like Junior, the little kid, snot all over his face, and I'm thinking, okay, somebody wipe his nose. You know, finally, his grandmother wipes his nose. It's like, now we're moving. I'm behind cameras, like, yeah. Here, Junior, get some medicine. Like, yes, you know. And then she gives him medicine, and then gives him a beer to chase him. And it's like, he's 2 years old. Mm-hmm. So then I've got Junior with a beer, and it's like, I want to grab it, but I know better. I mean, I flat out know better. Junior, they put him in a car seat in the one scene they were driving down the road. Same thing. Yes, car seat. There's no straps. So he's basically like a catapult waiting to go out the front window now at this point. And I can't tell you've got to have car straps, because then, you know what I mean? It's like I'm too
So you're
teachy.
trying to change that.
And so it did. It really, really messed with me in the fact that, yeah, I just had to turn off emotions. And it's, you know, I hear actors talk about character acting, and I always thought it was bullshit, but I sort of had to do that as a producer and assistant director, is to say, okay, this isn't going to mess with me. And we actually had one camera guy last one day just filming some stories, and it's just nonstop with him. And finally, he's a pretty good camera guy, and he got up and started walking down the sidewalk. So, all right. So.
And I will say there were times, you know, especially during the whole Kirk having the baby, losing the baby. There was one day I had shot with her for, I don't know, at least like 18 hours, and I seriously just went home and just sobbed.
That's what's so weird with our film. I think there's, and you all probably did it. There's times that you find you're laughing, and then you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I just laughed at that. And so it's this weird little
like the whole
thing
concept
with
of
that.
getting married in the pharmacy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
This
hilarious.
Really funny. Yeah. It's sad, but
I
it's really
found it
funny.
so funny, but the more I thought about it, I was like,
The
man, that's
irony.
awful.
I
Are they
know.
still together?